Well, folks, we just finished our popcorn. We drank down our Coca-Colas. We got our commemorative Solo, a Star Wars film posters
For free
at the movie theater. We're here to talk about a fantastic movie, Solo, a Red Cup story. I'm John Tyler McCrone, joined by
Logan Anstead.
and Billy Gillane.
So gentlemen, we saw a film.
How many Solo cups would you stack out of 10?
Did you see like at stores where there was like I don't know what company it was, but they
No,
had
it
red
is
Solo
Solo.
cups.
It's
and
Solo
they were,
cup, yeah,
and they're
they're
advertising
Solo.
what was the Solo movie logo.
We have those at Target right now, and it's like the most ingenious marketing ploy I've ever seen.
Yo.
Like, even if you don't like the film, you're like, all right, that's pretty dope, you know?
Even if you don't really use red Solo cups, it's just like why
I should
not?
buy these. Anyway.
Yeah.
Enough about marketing. Let's talk about the movie. So first thing, just spoiler-free, general impressions. I'd like to start because I think I might have like the longest triad
Go
about
ahead.
this film.
Spiel it out, John.
So once again, this is the second foray
about this film.
for Disney, and I guess Star Wars in general, producing a full-length film that isn't about the main
line.
cast or the main story.
not
and
a
all that
saga
stuff.
film.
Not a saga. And once again, I'm reminded that the best part about Star Wars is not the main part of it. Like, I don't give a crap about the Empire. I don't care about the Force. I don't care about Jedi. When I see Jyn Erso blowing up some dudes, and when I see young Han Solo blowing up some dudes, I'm like, I am in 100%, you know? I like Star Wars because I like the space opera aspect of it, you know? I don't care about morality. I don't care about stupid space wizards and space ghosts. Shove it. I want to see Lando Calrissian's in a spaceship flying around with a robot friend.
80 capes.
And this movie, I will say, I wasn't expecting much. This movie delivered on as being a space opera, being a space western, a space heist film. It delivered as being not a Star Wars film, and I'm glad that it's not.
High praise, Billy.
Well, I feel like I like the film, but I feel it felt very much like a Star Wars film to me. Probably arguably the most of any of the Disney movies so far.
Okay.
And the thing I'll piggyback off your point. Like the two non-saga films that Disney's made have been the two best films they've made. Like Rogue One was my favorite Disney Star Wars film until this point. This is right there with it. I don't have tons of complaints about this movie. Like mostly what you said, I agree with.
Right.
Except for the whole hating Jedi and the Force thing.
I hate Jedi so much.
Because
I hate Jedi so much.
Jedi for life.
Jedi for life.
Yeah, so...
Local Sith Logan Anstead.
Yeah, so I saw it
the red
last
shirt
night,
and everything.
and I you know, it was an enjoyable film. I'm just gonna read a tweet that basically like this is
What
my
is this?
this is a tweet.
Is this your tweet?
This is my tweet last night, right after, like
You're
literally
cheating,
right
Logan.
after I saw. This was my synopsis.
This is cheating.
I said Solo was good, but had a hard time establishing why it needed to exist. At multiple points, I found myself wondering why I wasn't watching a movie about one of the more interesting supporting characters. Still a pleasant experience, but lacking that oomph of a must-see.
So I'll tell you why this movie had to be made. Because you were probably one of the guys in the Disney boardroom going, "Wait, guys, why does this need to be made?" And then,
Sounds about right.
and then Mickey Mouse stood up and said, "We need money."
They're gonna lose so much money on this film, though.
I think so.
You think they're gonna lose money on it?
they had to reshoot almost the entire movie.
I think they'll maybe break even. It's a Star Wars film.
yeah, but at most the break
But what
even.
what was the budget for this? You know?
It was probably
Google it.
before the
I got it,
reshoots.
Joe.
It was
No, I got
at least 100 million. That's before reshoots.
Yeah, but like they're gonna easily make that back,
I think
right?
I'll make it back.
If it's only 100 million.
Well, enough of this.
Well, that's
budget,
before the reshoots, though.
Yeah.
Well, this is
Enough of this budget's PR crap. Let's talk about the film as we saw it.
Well, okay, so
No.
I really enjoyed it, right? But the thing was for me the whole time.
Closer to the mic. A little closer to the
The
mic.
thing was, I kept seeing these characters and they kept revealing these like little tidbits of backstory, and I was just like, wow, that sounds really cool. Can we dive a little more into that? And they're like, no, we're going to chase this train, and he's going to hang off the side. And there's Chewbacca. There he is again. He's got the little grenades on the side, and it's a good time. I don't know, like, I enjoyed the story. My biggest complaint about it was that, like, what is the budget, John?
$250 million.
Holy hell, dude.
Yeah, I told you it's gonna be struggle to make that all
I think
back.
they'll break even, but good lord,
They'll break even in China.
$250 million.
They made like $9 in China.
Anyway, I definitely see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I think it's that problem of if we establish anyone in this movie, we have to make another movie about them.
Yeah.
So they can't be around.
So a spin-off of the spin-off?
No, but my thing was, like, if you were going to take, like, a lot of people had said earlier, they're like, oh, I'd prefer this to be just, like, the Lando movie, right? Or some background like that. After seeing this, I don't agree. Donald Glover did a good job in the role, but it honestly didn't feel like he was playing Lando, it just felt like he was doing an impression. You know?
No, I thought he was because I think what people like this is something that happens a lot in Star Wars, where you'll see a side character that's supposed to be a side character, and people latch onto him. I mean, we have we have a guy whose his entire role was being an extra carrying an ice cream machine, and there are action figures of that man now.
Yeah.
So people saw Lando, who, if you watch that movie objectively, Lando's kind of a nothing character.
Yeah.
He just shows up, is kind of cool, and wears a scarf, and people love him. And this movie did the same thing. He's just a guy.
You could make the same argument, though. Let's start to wrap this up so we can get into the real meat and juice and potatoes of this. But
Sure.
You could make that same argument for Han Solo. You know?
Yeah.
Because he is a side character. Did this warrant his own thing?
He's not. He's one of the 3 main characters of the original trilogy.
He's a side character that had the
mean-
potential to grow, and he did grow. I think that's his
I
thing.
think he's more than like he's more than like a Lando or a Boba Fett or like an Emperor Palpatine. Those are side characters.
He ties them all
to me.
together.
those are side characters to me. To me, he's one of the main characters of the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Well, to look back, of the three main heroes of Star Wars, you have Leia, who's the lawful good. You have Luke, who's pure neutral, and you have Han, who's chaotic. He's chaotic good. He's the one he's got to be there to say, let's do the crazy thing, and people will listen to him because he's good at it. You don't have that character there, so that's why he's kind of that's his purpose.
My thing was when you were just talking about like the individual Star Wars movie, Rogue One, like Solo. I just didn't know if we needed this right now.
Right.
Like I said in my tweet, it was a good movie. I'm glad I saw it. I'm happy that I saw it. I just don't know if it established itself as something that was like a must see.
Right.
I agree with that in the sense that I didn't want to see. I wasn't excited about seeing a Han Solo movie because I'm like, what more do we need to know about Han Solo? Like,
he did something.
If it's in my opinion, a standalone film should be about characters we haven't seen yet. Explore.
Yeah.
Star Wars, it's a whole galaxy spanning thousands of years.
Yeah.
Don't focus on just this 50-year period. Like, give me something else.
And that was the great thing. And granted, it's still in that 50-year period, but Rogue One was such an interesting
Still
story.
new characters.
We had never seen any of those characters.
Right.
There were references to the other movies and stuff, and we knew that this had taken place if you were deep into Star Wars lore. But it was a really good time.
Did you turn the light on?
Yeah, I did turn the light on. But yeah, so let's. I guess out of 5 sales.
Yeah.
Let's get to it, John.
I gave Rogue One a 4. I'll give this one a 4. If you like Star Wars, see it, but don't kill yourself trying to go see it. See it when it's convenient to you. It's definitely not like I gotta get there right now.
Yeah.
I'll go 3.5. I was pleasantly surprised with this film. I think it's entertaining. It's not perfect by any means. It's not a great film, but it's entertaining. It is for what it is. I was entertained.
Yeah. I'm gonna agree with Billy and give it a 3.5 out of 5. The thing about it is if you go in there with managed expectations or not at all, like I did, that is honestly the best way to see it, because then you're like, oh wow, there's some genuinely cool stuff going on here. If you're expecting this to be mainline Star Wars action, blah 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 blah, you're gonna hate yourself and you're gonna enjoy the movie. So
now going just final note, it's a good space opera. If you like that, you like sci-fi, go see it. We are now entering in to spoiler territory.
this is your spoiler warning.
We will talk about the whole movie minute by minute, frame by frame, starting in 3, 2, 1. My favorite part of the movie was the slavery.
What?
I wanted that soundbite to get in there. It wasn't the slavery. I did that for the joke. It was the rebellion against the slavery, because this is something that
L3.
if you've played the other Star Wars video games, this is really the only place you can get it. They aren't canon anymore.
Here we go.
But if you get those, you play KOTOR, you play KOTOR 2.
Here we go. A deep dive. Can you explain what KOTOR is?
KOTOR is Knights of the Old Republic. It's an old video game based in the Star Wars universe, thousands of years before the main story. But one important nugget that it teaches you
One little nugget
is that in the Star Wars universe, and in the galaxy which in Star Wars takes place, slavery is extremely rampant and nobody cares.
It's all about aggressive expansion.
Exactly. Those games talk about robot slavery and how horrible that is, and Wookiee slavery and how horrible that is. And I'm glad this movie kind of touched on that so they can tell the general audience, it's not a great place to live.
I was about to say,
It's like when we were doing our Blade Runner review or whatever, and the Wallace character was like, "Oh, we should own the stars, but we don't have slaves anymore.
We need those slaves."
And so in the Star Wars universe, they were like, "You know what, slaves? Okay."
So basically, just to kind of, I don't know why I want to do this, but I want to give some light on this. So the whole thing with the droids is they have those little things on them. whatever restricting bolts, right? And those destroy all robots have personality for some reason, and those bolts destroy the personality.
Yeah.
So they're all just made mindless slaves. And also the thing they bring up is you're supposed to memory wipe a droid every 5 years or so because eventually they'll get self-recognition, the bolt will wear off, and they'll go, hey, wait a minute, why am I a slave? And then you just take their brain out and put a new one in. So that's terrible. Also, with the Wookiees, just really, really quick, what happened was basically they were on their planet doing fine, right? And then people discovered them and said, wow, they're really strong and they're really stupid. We can trick them into enslaving themselves and then selling them to us. And that's what happened. That's what they are. Yay, Star Wars!
The Empire is so great.
So anyway, I just wanted to clear up that a little bit. Where do you guys want to start?
Well, I mean, I guess we should start at the beginning. What is it? Corellia, right?
Who cares?
So the first initial scene with Han, we meet Han and we meet Kira. Cool little space speeder, you know.
Can I just say that scene reminded me so much of like the pod race in episode 1?
Yeah,
Like they even had like the scene where like they had the giant.
I think that was
race
the only
speeder.
good part of the movie.
Wow.
Jokes.
Wow. No, they had like they even had like the giant speeder next to the really small one, like bumping. Like it was the exact same shot. Like pod racing.
I did like how they showed Han is just like literally a little street rat. Like, he's not really doing anything cool.
He was nobody.
He's just nobody. I'm glad they mentioned thermal detonators again. One of my favorite Star Wars technologies.
You mean The Rock?
Yeah, The Rock.
The Rock's in this movie, guys.
Okay, did anyone else think that the Lady Lady Proxima, did they? I know that was like a practical effect, like they built that and everything. It looked like garbage.
Yeah,
like I thought
think
it
it's
looked
supposed to.
horrible.
It's supposed to look like garbage.
Yeah, I heard somebody before I actually saw the movie. Somebody was like, "Yeah, there's like this Muppet looking thing at the beginning of the film."
It looked
and
so bad.
That was her, and yeah, like she looked like not good.
Oh, something I forgot.
Like a child.
Something I forgot to mention. They changed the opening crawl. For now, when you see that blue text where it says "Long, long, go in a galaxy far, far away," it just continues in that font. I like that way more than the crawl.
Can I just say something? Like the Star Wars like crawl is super iconic. They decided to like have a crawl in this film without actually doing the crawl. It's not something that like bothered me, but it bothered me.
I liked it.
It's like if you're gonna do a crawl, do a crawl.
You're gonna do the damn crawl. Get on your damn knees and crawl it out.
like you either go all out or you don't do it.
I mean, it's nice to see that and everything, but like there was also in this film, I don't know if it was like the expectation of it or anything, but like when that crawl, quote unquote, did come on, nobody was like, like everyone for every other film gets quiet, like stares at it, and then you hear the music. That was another thing that was for me, and this is more of an overall thing and not going sequentially as a spoiler thing. The music in this film I thought was very underwhelming.
There was
You mean the Star Wars music?
There were certain points where the music didn't even feel like Star Wars music. Like, is the scene where like they go to like the ice planet for the first time with the train sequence.
Yeah,
and sound like something I'd hear in like Black Panther or something. It did not sound like music I'd hear in a Star Wars.
When
movie.
the space warriors showed up on the motorcycles, when the space bikers showed up.
Oh, the Marauders.
Yeah. Well, let's not get to that. Let's stay on the planet. So they meet this lady, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get you, Han, because you're not a good thief." And then they escape, right? And they try to bribe this lady about
They
what
escape by making her melt like a vampire.
Yeah. And then we have the origin of Han's name, which is him basically going to a kiosk
stupidest
where they're playing the evil Empire music to drum people up.
And then I
thought was hilarious.
The Empire guy's like, "Who are your people?" He's like, "I don't have people."
Yeah.
I'm by myself. Well, then we're gonna say your last name's Solo. Like. That's stupid, man.
Well, that is actually a thing in Star Wars. Your last name is your clan. Yeah. So if you don't have a clan, they just give you a name.
We did skip over a very important part, though.
What do you mean?
The sequence or whatever where they're going through and they're trying to sneak through, and they give the lady the coaxium, right? And then Kira gets cut off by the door.
Oh, no.
And then we're like, oh, no, what's going to happen? Tragic.
And it's on her palm, not Penny's boat.
We'll never see her again.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Until 3 years later when Han is still fighting.
So
hey, we're not there yet, man.
He goes to a snarky, because the only way he can escape is to basically join the Empire. He goes to a snarky pilot, or a snarky recruiter man, and says, "I want to be big boy pilot man." He's like, "Okay, Mr. Solo, wink. I'll be flying in a year." And then he goes to Mud Planet, and
he's not flying.
He's in Star Wars World War I.
The trenches, man.
I really, really like that part, because something I always thought about is like, man, Republic troopers are stupid. They were all white. That's gotta get dirty. And then they show him in the Republic armor, I guess the Empire army, and the armor.
Oh yeah, it's the
black.
Empire by now.
It's the Empire. His armor is completely mudded. It's black, like they're all mismatched, like a real soldier would be. it shows like the transition from they're not clones yet, they're still just regular people, so it's all like not organized and not uniform and not pretty.
No, this is after the clones.
Yeah.
Clones is the prequels.
Oh, damn it.
Got your timelines all messed up.
John just
do you even Star Wars?
even Star Wars?
Okay, fine. It's going from the uniformity and all that crap.
No,
to
but
not.
I know what you were saying. Like it was a nice change of pace, and it really. My first thought was like, did they just take the Wonder Woman scene and give them like Empire helmets? Because like like the trench scene, it looked exactly the same. But no,
That's
it was
just what World War I looks like.
It was super. This was probably the most predictable part of the movie, though, and it was kind of. This is where I was very bored at this point. Is like through that scene, you're like, oh, who are these people advancing so well?
Oh,
and like you knew those guys were like the people you've seen in the trailers. You knew Woody Harrelson was gonna, pop out of the whatever.
Sure.
And that there was gonna be his crew there and blah blah blah. And you knew at the very moment they're like, oh, feed him to the beast. You knew it was Chewie. Like, come on.
I didn't know it was Chewie.
Wow.
I thought it was Obi-Wan Kenobi, man.
You're really bad at it. I'm okay. All right. Well then,
I was not expecting Chewie, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, I wasn't. Cause I kind of forgot Chewie was a thing going into the movie.
I liked their first interaction. How like Han was just like, all right, what do I do? And then he just goes like, and he's like,
Yeah.
what? like,
But do remember, Chewie's race is known throughout the galaxy as a slave race. So bear that in mind.
Yeah. No. The one
wow.
thing
Thank
about
you, John, our historian that doesn't know when the goddamn prequels began. You idiot! Do you even know what year it is?
goes on this entire rant about Star Wars history. Oh yeah, the clone troopers were after this.
He talks about this deep history of slaves in the Star Wars universe, and it was like, oh, by the way, the clones haven't happened.
Wait,
yet.
what are
the most obvious thing. No, but what I was trying to say is, the one thing about this film is the predictability in this film for me was like super
It's an all-time
Welcome to
high.
a Star Wars
Yeah, it's
film.
like even like all the twists at the end. It's like, yeah, who didn't see that coming?
Oh, she is actually bad. Oh
Like,
no!
oh no, they told him not to trust anybody, and then he can't trust anybody. What? Like, shocking.
Yeah.
All right, so after the
So after Space War I, he finds out that Woody Harrelson and his crew have a very, very complicated plan to steal a spaceship. So basically, I just want to go back to this pitch where Woody Harrelson's like, okay, so we got this train we got to rob, right? And here's how we're
I
going
love
to
how none of us are calling him by his in-game name. We're all just like Woody, or his in movie name. We're all just like, well, Woody Harrelson and his gang.
here's how we're going to do it, all right? We're going to join the army. We're going to fight for 5 years and then steal a ship.
Were they really fighting for 5 years?
No, I think they were there for like 5 minutes.
They were just passing through. They needed to
Talk
get
into
through.
the mic, dude.
They were just passing through.
I did think it was weird they were actually fighting, though. Like, why would they go to the front lines?
Yeah,
That was weird.
They just wanted to get through in the quickest way possible, and so they're like, "Oh, let's lead
You gotta sell it, man. You gotta make them believe you're in the
do
army
gotta
by
sell it.
like, you know.
So anyway, so Han meets Chewie, who is just a random, once again, slave Wookiee, fighting for scraps and, I guess, cannibalism on this mud planet.
Oh my god!
They escape. They join Woody Harrelson and his crew of Lady from Westworld and Four-Finger McGee. Four-Hand McGee. And they go to Ice World. And they steal a train, I think?
They don't. Yeah, they hijacked the train thing. Yeah.
Because it has more of the hyperfuel in it.
They don't steal the train. They just hijack it. They hijack a particular piece of the cargo.
Should
Like,
we
they
just,
separate
you know
half of
what?
it.
I'm getting bored. Should we just skip to the interesting parts of the movie? Because I don't care about this heist.
This
at
is
all.
pretty telling.
This is where we meet Enfys Nest. Who?
Yeah.
The person who's bad, but it's not really bad because
the girl who
Space Wakanda?
Yeah, no.
Space
She's
Wakanda.
literally, if you look at Destiny 1 concept art and then you compare it to the helmet that they're wearing in this movie, like this Marauder's wearing, it's literally the exact same thing.
So
like somebody just stole the concept art.
Four-Hand McGee and Westworld die because who cares? And then Woody Harrelson's like, oh no.
I liked Four-Hand McGee.
Can I just say something? We have the poster right there. Why is girl from Westworld on there, but not Four-Hand McGee? They have like the exact same amount of screen time.
Yeah, because no one cares about Four-Hand McGee because
He was
he's
like my
Four-Hand
favorite
McGee.
character.
He was
I know
pretty
he
cool.
was he was the best one in my opinion. And,
He was pretty cool.
What is it? What was his actual name? Rebolt, right?
Who?
Rebolt.
He's Four Hands McGee, man.
Four Hands McGee.
So anyway, they go on to Space Hitler's yacht.
That's another thing, dude. It's like, how do we make this guy look evil? Why don't we just make it look like a bear scratched him in the
Yeah,
face?
they're like,
And it grows when it gets angry.
the funniest thing for me
And
is
his eyes turn super red.
I'm in the middle of the theater and I'm just like I'm focused on the film and I'm watching and my girlfriend Nadia just goes, "Is that Vision?" like And she's like, I thought he died in the last one. I was like, if you don't shut up, like.
So anyway, and he gets mad at him, and he's like, "Listen," Woody Harrelson's like, "Listen, we need to make a deal." And the other guy's like, "I don't know about no deal." And then you meet Emilia Clarke. She's there.
Kira's back.
Who's not calling
Surprise.
anybody by their name?
She's a slave, I think.
No, she's like bestowed to him.
Okay, that's one thing I didn't get. Was like she like
Oh, I know what it
like
is.
slave lieutenant, or was she like actually there because like they cared for her?
What happened was, spoiler: Darth Maul's in it. Darth Maul went to Who Cares Planet, blew it up for the Aurelium, and then found her. She was good at kickboxing, and then gave her to Space Hitler. That's what happened.
And then Space Hitler fell in love as well.
And then Space Hitler branded her with his mark and fell in love. So anyway, so they're trying to figure out a deal. And
Crimson
Han's like-
Dawn!
and he's like, "Listen, I need 100 units of the space jam." And Han Solo's like, "Wait, what if we steal it before it gets made?" And he's like, "Bada bing, that's a good plan."
because the other stuff, the actually
Highly guarded.
because you have so they're trying to steal coaxium and they're trying to steal unrefined coaxium because the refined coaxium is only from Empire stuff. It'd be very controversial if they
Well, not controversial, it'd be difficult.
yeah.
Could be dead.
They'd be dead really fast. But nobody guards the unmade stuff because it's very, very explosive. You can't make the Kessel Run in under 20 parsecs. Are you crazy?
unless your hand.
So anyway,
the worst.
so they need to make the Kessel Run in under 20 parsecs. They need a fast ship, right? Who's got the fastest ship in the galaxy? Landau Calrissians, who just happens to be very, very clean in this very dirty place. So they meet him up. They do Who Cares? They do a card game, and they get the ship.
Shabak.
They play, which I wish was Puzok, which is a game from KOTOR, but they changed the words just enough to make me mad.
I need you to stop. I need you to stop with your obscure Cold War references. And I need you to walk out of here if you're going to continue doing this.
No, John, no.
Get out and play your 2003 PC games alone.
We have a really, really great scene, I think, between Han and Lando. I like the scene a lot when they're playing cards, because you see that they're both basically the same character, but they hate each other because they're so similar.
I like both scenes of the two of them playing cards, even the ending.
Oh
scene.
yeah. I think it's very nice, because they're both trying to trick each other, and the better tricksman wins. But then he kind of like he leaves so cool. He's like, "Oh yeah, I beat Han Solo in a card game. Oh please, Mr. Woody Harrelson, I need some money, Mr. Woody Harrelson."
We meet L3 for the first time. I want to get your guys' opinion on L3 as a character.
It was the weirdest thing. It's like she's trying to send like this super important message of equality, but like all her lines are comic relief lines.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Welcome to the droids in Star
yeah,
Wars.
it's like I want a droid that's not just like comic relief. Like just don't have that one token
Hey,
funny droid. Like,
I got a great avenue for you. There's this little game called KOTOR.
I swear, dude. No, but like my funniest thing for me is like she was kind of like a feminist, but for droids. Like she was just like, I'm all about droid equality or whatever. And then she's like,
Right here,
as you
into
see
the mic.
as you see her walking or whatever back to the ship, she's like, her hips are going. She's like, please don't stare. And it's just like it was just a funny thing to see her as like a character.
You didn't say.
I
please don't say about the
honestly,
hip
I don't think I
thing.
laughed at a single one of her
Yeah.
lines.
Well, Logan obviously had some weird attraction.
No, stop. No, but like it was funny because she clearly thought Lando was like obsessed with her or
Yeah.
whatever, and it was just I don't know.
I like the droids in Star Wars that are useful, but also funny. Like in the last one, in Rogue One, we had that one droid, the murderer droid, right?
Yeah.
He was useful, but also a weird droid. And I think that's that kind of thing that like people like. This is what the Star Wars universe establishes, where those droids aren't trying to be funny. They're just all kind of like that for some reason. Like the guy who made them just kind of made all the ones that are like bipedal and talking. He made them all snarky for some reason. He just liked that type of character. If you play any Star Wars game, most of the droids are just weird snarky dudes.
Yeah,
that's just how they are.
That's the thing that bothers me is you have all these droids and it's like they all just like the same droid. It's like
Right.
I just want a murderous, horrible one.
Hey, if you want that, I got a great avenue for you. It's this little game called KOTOR.
John, tell me more.
Oh my god.
His name is HK47.
No, but like the best part about the L3 character for me is when she died. It's not that morbid, but like when she just got
when she was dead.
when she got put into the ship, and then Lando was like, "She's part of the ship," and I was like, "Oh, I get it. That's why the navigations is so good."
So
Okay.
So to
Because
explain
like
that
later in the
a little
film,
bit-
it's like, how do you plot a course to that? And he's like, "Oh, we just know." And then
So that's kind of a little bit. Before that, we gotta get to the planet. So we got the crew together, right? We got Woody Harrelson's Han Solo, Emilia Clarke, Robot, and Chewbacca, right? They're ready to go. They gotta go to the weird gas planet, which is, to get there, you gotta go through a maelstrom. And the maelstrom is exactly 20 parsecs long. That'll make sense later. To the planet, right? And they gotta get the unrefined beryllium, whatever it is. I'm gonna call it beryllium. Coaxium. And the whole thing about
For F's
coaxium...
sake.
We know no names here.
The whole thing about coaxium...
Just saw the movie.
is that it's incredibly
life of him.
volatile in its refined state, and its unrefined state, it's incredibly volatile. So they have to get it in exactly 20 parsecs. The ship
carefully.
can go like the exact speed they need to get to the refining place in time before it explodes.
Remember the nuke in Dark Knight Rises? This is that, but in 20 minutes.
So they're going through their plan, right? And L3, in a fit of, I guess, like subtle frustration at this one slave droid, releases him and gives him the command, "Free your brothers." He does so, and a slave revolt breaks out on planet Gas World.
Not just the droids, but like every slave that's mining this
Not just
stuff.
The droids.
droids, women, and droids children too.
I was going the exact same place, man.
I'm about to walk out of here.
Logan, you set us up for that one.
So there's a big revolt, including a revolt of other Wookiees from Kashyyyk, which is I think it's a nice little moment. We never really see Chewie interact with other Wookiees. Actually, we don't see Chewie interact with Wookiees at all.
In Revenge
So I
of
like
the
this.
Sith. Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith. He's on Kashyyyk.
Oh yeah, he's on Kashyyyk. That's right. So
battle
anyway,
thing.
we see this nice little moment where they have this little fight. They get the coaxium and they escape. But before they escape, poor little Karl Marx L3 takes a shot to the
Karl
chest,
Marx L3.
and then several more shots to the legs.
And then Lando takes a shot to the shoulder trying to save her.
I like how there's the progression of, like, they're all smugglers, but they all gotta save their friends. So first Lando goes, then Han goes, then Chewie's like, I guess I'll go too.
Yeah, and well, Han just calls Chewie over because he's like, Lando can't move, I can't carry him, and so Chewie ends up carrying Lando and what's left of L3.
Amelia Clark has this great moment with thermal detonators where she blows up a bunch of turrets, which is nice. And then they escape. However, there is an Imperial Star Destroyer blockading the Maelstrom, which is, remind you, 20 parsecs long.
Yeah, and they have to
What?
they have to get the coaxium back in time or else they'll explode.
So,
And nobody
And if they
can
don't
make
get
that
the-
run
and
in
if they
under
don't get
20
the coaxium
parsecs.
back in time, they're dead anyway.
so Han makes the dastardly dash decision
Dastardly.
to say, I'm going to make the Kessel run in under 20 parsecs.
And he does, though.
He does so
12
while defeating a
parsecs.
Reaper from Mass Effect. Yeah, that'll make sense when you see it. I don't feel like we had to dwell on that because the movie didn't dwell on
was
it.
just kind of like, oh wow,
Why is that there?
This is the problem with having characters that you know exist later on.
Yeah,
Is that it's like, oh well, they have to make it out of it.
you can just do whatever they want to have them do cool things.
That was the great thing about Rogue One because they all die eventually, but you don't know when.
See, I disagree. The most unpredictable moment of this film was when Chewie was hanging off the edge of the train. I'm being dead serious. Everything else was super predictable.
You didn't think Chewie was gonna live?
He thought it was a different Chewie in the regular films.
He's like Paul McCartney. The real one died in like 67.
It's just like Han replacing his dog, and he just names the new dog the same as the old
Oh,
one.
that's terrible. He has four.
Oh my
He
God.
opens the room and he throws another Chewie collar in, and it pans up. There's like a million Chewie collars. Terrible. So anyway,
Oh, this Chewie's got. I got another one.
Yeah.
The Chewie we saw in episode 8
shut
was
up,
actually was actually like the 10th Chewie.
so we get to Refined World. He makes the Kessel Run in about 14 parsecs.
Refined World, which is just a really shitty beach.
I'm kind of glad. Like the parsecs thing we keep harping on, I'm kind of glad they do the subtle things to explain why Han Solo is the way he is.
A
Because
cocky son of a bitch.
well, no, because everyone sees the regular Star Wars and they go, "Wait a minute, a parsec is a unit of distance," and they made it make sense. And they made his gun make sense because people were saying, like people in the past have been saying,
Yeah.
why is Han's gun so strong? That's kind of weird because it used to be a rifle.
He deconstructed a sniper. Like,
Yeah, he made a little pistol. And like, why does it have a scope on it? Because it used to be a rifle. I'm gonna do this. And why is his name so low?
Just one thing that's not really important, but I do want to point out because it's cool, is like when they get to the planet that has all the unrefined beryllium.
Yeah,
coaxium.
beryllium.
Corellia is the planet. Coaxium is the resource.
Stuff. Woody Harrelson, the helmet he's got on is the same helmet that Lando was wearing
On
in
the thing,
Jabba's palace.
which means that Lando at one point just found a cool helmet and was like, I'm gonna keep this.
Yeah. So that's cool to know.
I also like, once again, how they explain why Han's a good pilot, especially of the Millennium Falcon. His dad built them, so he
Yeah.
knows exactly how it works in and out, which is cool. Anyway, going on beyond that stuff.
And then Chewie just sits down in the passenger seat and he goes, 190 190 years.
You're 190 years old. You're my longest Chewie yet.
You look great.
So only my fifth Chewie.
they get to Space Refinery, and what do you know? Wakanda's already there.
Wakanda and the crew.
She takes off her helmet, and there's a very, very long pause on this woman's face, and I have no idea who she is. I feel like the movie's like nudging me, like, "Hey, remember her?" And it's like, you've been on her face for like 30 seconds. I don't know who this is.
What happened?
Gender representation.
What happened if Boba Fett was a redheaded chick, and then she had a daughter instead of a son, and the same shit happened?
Well, no, is this like a character in known? Is this a character in known canon? Like, am I supposed to know who this person
I didn't know
is?
who it was.
I know. She was ginger, so represent.
No, but I mean, the impression we got from like what she said and what the story was basically her mother used to do this as like a way of getting back at the Empire because like she hated them. Her mom died for some reason, and so she's taken up her mantle of this. Her crew is people from different worlds that the Empire has destroyed for coaxium. So like they're basically just trying to get back and start the rebellion. The whole point is, I think if she ties into anything, she ties into the beginning of the rebellion.
Oh yeah, they made that because at the end of the movie, she's talking to Han like, "You should join this rebellion we're starting." Wink, wink.
Yeah,
he's like, "Nah, I don't think I'm gonna ever do that." Wink, wink.
Yeah.
So anyway, Wakanda shows up, and then oh no, Space Hitler's back,
and he needs his coaxium.
And he needs his coaxium for reasons, and Han's like, wait a minute, we gotta double cross, we gotta be the good guys. I'm a good guy, Lily Clark. And he goes to Woody Harrelson, and Woody Harrelson's like, nah. And then they go to Space Hitler.
His name is Beckett. His name is Beckett.
No, it's Amelia Clark, Woody Harrelson, Fort Hands, and other people.
I hate this so much.
And they give him the Irelium, and they're gonna betray him. But wait,
coaxium.
Woody Harrelson is back, baby. He's there to double cross Mr. Han Solo, and Han Solo can't have none of it. Because guess what? Triple cross Wakanda got the real Irelium.
I know. But what is all of this? Like, there was literally like 5 stages for Kira, 4 for Han, and like.
Okay,
3 for Beckett? Like, I don't even know, dude.
Yeah, like they teased her turning on him like 5 different times.
And then you finally thought it was over. And then she's like, I'm actually just...
So anyway,
it's like, there was like 50 million twists on top of, and they were all super predictable. It's like none of them surprised me.
So Wakanda beats Space Hitler's army. Han Solo, or Woody Harrelson escapes with Chewie as a slave, with the coaxium. Han Solo and Hitler have a fight. Amelia Clark ends up killing Hitler and says to Han Solo, I'm going to grab these diamonds, which is going to take me more than 30 seconds for some reason. You go on ahead of me. I think he kind of knew, like, she's going to leave. I kind of got that vibe.
I got that vibe, too. Because his reaction wasn't super strong or visceral.
Exactly. It was more just like they're both saying goodbye to each other, but not saying goodbye.
Visceral Star Wars, rest in peace.
And then I thought another really, really good moment was when Han Solo intercepts Woody Harrelson escaping with the coaxium, and they have a nice like thief moment where they're both about to shoot each other, and then Han shoots first.
And then Han shot first. Oh,
because then he goes to Woody. And Woody's like, "You made a good choice."
Yeah, I was gonna kill you.
He's like, "Good call, my friend."
But I think it's one of those moments where like you're happy that he won, but you're also sad because Woody Harrelson basically says like, this is how it ends. You know, that great line in a lot of shows where it's like, we don't get good endings, we're not the good guys. We don't get to die as heroes, This is how we go. And like looking forward to the other Star Wars film, Han, he got done dirty too. Yeah. Like, he didn't go good.
Not at all.
So I like
that's my son.
Yeah.
That's my boy.
I really attach to characters that are like that, who have the mentality of this isn't gonna end well for me, but I'm gonna keep doing it because I have to. I like those characters.
Clearly, you get very emotional.
And so Han Solo,
great characters, man.
He goes to Space Wakanda and says, "I'm not going to join the rebellion because I don't care."
Space Wakanda
gives her the coaxium, but she gives him one, and him and Chewie escape. But wait, back on Space Hitler's ship, Amelia Clark takes the ring from Space Hitler's corpse, and she puts it in a little pedestal. And what do we see on the screen?
Darth Maul.
We see Darth Maul. He's there.
Darth Maul.
Very confusing to me who hasn't seen the Clone Wars. So folks at home, the Clone Wars TV show animated series on Cartoon Network is canon, apparently.
But John, is it canon?
Yes.
Because you don't even know when the prequels begin.
Well, here's the thing.
All those not clone troopers in that.
What is KOTOR?
Yeah. All the non-clone troopers in the Clone Wars.
No, the interesting thing for me about that is that like when that came on, I was just like, I immediately was like, why the hell wasn't it a Darth Maul film? Like, why wasn't it like the beginning of the Crimson Dawn and like his reasoning?
They're clearly setting up some sort of sequel, right? There's no way they don't introduce Darth Maul and like not set up a sequel.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be a thing where it's like, because I mean, does the Clone Wars thing like conclude his story finally?
Well, I don't want to spoil TV shows.
Yes or no? Does
but
it conclude his story?
At the end of Clone Wars, he's still alive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like he dies in the first prequel
In the first
movie.
prequel movie.
But like that was the thing about the first prequel movies that everybody was like, wow, Darth Maul is the best character in this shit. Why was he only in here for 10 minutes and said nothing? Like,
well,
He had 2 lines.
he had 2 lines.
like wow, he had 2 lines in a 2.5-hour slog fest that was that horrible film.
Is it?
I think once again, it's one of those things where well, it's one of those Star Wars things where it's like, look at Darth Maul from what we see in the movies. What is Darth Maul? He's a guy with a baton, and the reason he's cool is because he has a baton versus a sword. That's like
He's
the
got
only.
a bunch of horns on his head and he's red, John.
But it's like it's one of those Star
Are
Wars
you
things.
red, John?
He's like-
I didn't think so.
Yeah, us red people. Man.
He's another one of those Star Wars things where, like, he's basically nothing, but he's cool because he's slightly different from the main cast. So it's like, I don't like. For me, I'm like, well, he's just another Star Wars character. He's not the coolest for me. I like Han more because Han has more character.
But that's a background that I would want to see explored. I'm
Okay.
not saying like preferred it over a Han Solo movie, but like when you're just going off of like all the characters I saw in there, I was just like, okay, this needs to happen too. Like this is.
I think Space Wakanda should have got cut out. I didn't like Space Wakanda.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say with Darth Maul is, like, I watched the Clone Wars and even in Rebels, like, he has story arcs and character development in both those shows. So, like, you kind of know, like, more about that character. So I'm more invested in that character than I am just for somebody who's just seen the Phantom Menace. It's like he actually speaks, actually says things, actually like has meaning to his actions and stuff. You see a little bit of his past. So I am more invested in Darth Maul, and I'm happy that he was in this film and hope we actually get a Darth Maul film.
Flipping back to the ending, so we see Han and Chewie enter a little cabaret, I guess.
Because they need a good ship.
Yeah. So they find Lando again, and then Han is lashing.
Trickster.
He's lashing out at him. He's like, "Screw you, screw you!" And then he sees that he still has that card thing up his sleeve, and then he goes in for a hug. And we'll find out later that he steals the card, that green little.
So the reason
card.
Lando is so renowned as a famous card player is he cheats super hard.
Yeah.
And then when Han sees him again, he out-cheats him by stealing his cheating thing.
and then
a great moment.
And then wins the Millennium Falcon.
That scene put a smile on my face.
I
man.
love
I was
that
so
scene.
happy.
There's a moment where they're once again, it's just them at the table. They're doing their last straw. They both bet it all. And Lando is very, very confident. He reaches for his little tappy thing to give him a card. He taps on it, nothing happens. And you see his face. Oh, no. He tries it again. You hear him try it like 3 times. And then Han's like, hey, buddy, you looking for this? He pulls out the card. And then he wins. He wins the Millennium Falcon.
I feel like, how is he not caught doing that at that point? It's not like it's not
how many
obvious.
times has he done
It's
it?
not obvious. Like
that he
he's
wins
like,
the final hand like that every time.
he like because every time he sticks his hand down, does this, and all of a sudden he has his green card.
I think they imply where like he only does it when it's the big show. Like, because everyone else, he beats them in the
Oh
first
no, yeah,
rounds.
he doesn't do. He's still a good sabacc player, but
Yeah.
like his, if he wants to win
his
the final
special trick.
thing, he makes sure he
Okay,
gets
that's
the
fair.
clean sweep.
Yeah. So we went through the whole film.
That's the end of the movie.
And I think it kind of perfectly summarize it. You know, when we were talking about it, when we were summarizing it, kind of like Rogue One, we couldn't really remember all the characters. We couldn't remember all the factions.
No, I mean I remember characters and I could clearly point out like scenes in my mind and stuff. It's just like once again wasn't that memorable for me.
Like the point I was saying is like this movie won't stick with you, but I will say, despite like me making fun of it and the beat by beat, me watching it beat by beat, I was happy. I was smiling. I was like, "This is fun. This is a good romp. I like these characters." It stuck with
The best
that helped.
The best thing I can compare it to is that if Rogue One was Kingsman, the original Kingsman film, then Solo: A Star Wars Story is Kingsman: The Golden Circle, because it wasn't as memorable as a film. I didn't really care about the characters. Whatever. No, but it's like okay, so it's like playing. If Rogue One was like the first video game that you played that was like super life changing or whatever, this is a sequel that didn't really pan out as well as you thought it would, but you still enjoyed playing through it. Like you don't regret buying into it.
This went a lot better than I thought it would.
It definitely went a lot better.
It wasn't bad. Which
to me,
is
once
good.
again,
I thought it was going to be bad.
it went better than episode 7 and 8 for me. Definitely.
I'm about to say, yeah, this is the second best of the 4 Star Wars
'Cause,
Disney. Star
I don't know.
Wars.
It's kind of sad.
And even like the main Star Wars movies, like my thing with them is like they beat you over the head with this is the good guy thing, this is the bad guy thing.
These are the chosen ones.
Where like these movies they're a lot more subtle. You know, like Jen Erso is not a good character. Like I mean, like she's not like morally good. You know, she's a trickster, and like this is a trickster. You know, the rebels and stuff like that. But it's just like
We rebel.
you get these little beats of like, oh no, like even beyond that, like
Stupidest line.
they're real people. You know, like I don't
Yeah.
see Luke as a real person. I don't see Rey as a real person.
Like
They're just
Han-
cardboard cutouts.
Don't
of
you
characters.
dare talk about Luke Skywalker like that, Sean.
But Han wanted to be a pilot, and he sees the best way fit for him to be a pilot is for him to, live this kind of lifestyle.
Right.
So it's
And like once again, you get those beats of like, you know, even though Han's a good guy hero, he's still at his core he's a smuggler and he's a dirty guy.
Yeah.
And he's not that great.
and Chewie's along for the ride.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, we live this life and it ain't gonna end pretty.
Yeah. Can I just say the dude who played Han Solo? I thought he did a tremendous job.
I thought he did. He did way better than I was
Yeah.
expecting.
I didn't like him as Han Solo.
I mean,
Sorry.
he's not Harrison Ford. Like
I really didn't like him as Han
You
Solo.
were looking at the robot the whole time.
I was completely
3.
like him more than Lando does. Man.
No, but I mean, I thought he did fine. I didn't think it was an exemplary performance.
not exemplary, but he did fine.
I also
was
thought the
invested in
writing
him as a character.
I also thought the writing was a little weak for some of the lines he had too. Like literally, the supporting characters stole the show. So like you had Four Arm Man, and then you had Beckett, Woody Harrelson's character.
I don't think any of them. I don't think there's any really supporting characters that stood out to me.
Yeah.
They're all solid. I think. Like
I think
Yeah, no, I think they were all. But what I'm saying is they were all performed well, and I thought Han was just it was okay.
well, I think this movie wasn't written as like, okay, Han's the hero. It was written as like a heist movie where
Yeah.
everyone is equal. Like, you know, because you watch a movie like Ocean's 11 through 13, and like, yes, Danny Ocean is the main guy.
Ready for that Ocean's 8, yo.
But I'm saying like there are characters in the Ocean's group that, you know, get as much screen time that you can like they're not main characters. Like, you know, Don Cheadle's character in that movie is not a main character, but you can like vibe with him. You know, he's one of my favorite characters in that series. So it's kind of like they're like, you know, it's a smuggler movie, it's a heist movie. You find the one that you like and you stick with them. And they wrote all characters to kind of have their own beats
Yeah.
and have their own like, you know, equal screen time and equal like personality, stuff like that. I thought it worked really well.
yeah, for me, I don't think there was any character that stood out, but they were all fairly solid.
Yeah. There was no character I hated.
Yeah.
I'll say that. No
Yeah.
character I hated, which is good. Even like the villain.
There's no Jar Jar.
No, there's no Jar Jar.
great.
Or there's no Rey for me.
I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
Even the prequel defender I am. I'll even say, for as much as I love the prequels, there was some really, really prequely dialogue in this film that I
Yes.
like that
Oh,
stood
yeah.
out to me. I was
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
that's bad enough to be in the prequels.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a few of those moments, but
Some of
overall,
L3 stuff, I was
we,
like,
we gave it reviews. We had a good time with it. Once again, manage your expectations.
I think, you know, just the last thing to do is, Logan, you had that coxilium for me, the hyperspace fuel. You had some of that for me.
Yeah. What about it?
You gotta get it to me. We made a deal.
No.
I'm gonna turn on both of you. Even though I'm not part of this deal.
Everybody drop!
Blaster sounds. Blaster sounds.
Boo, 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 boo.
This has been a Spinnaker Spoilercast for
leg.
Solo, a Star Wars story. I've been Logan Anstead.
I've been John Tyler McCrone.
I'm Billy Glenn.
Go buy your red Solo cups now.
We'll see you next time
Solo.
on A Hell of a Marketing Scheme. Bye-bye, guys.
Dun, 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 dun.